शाखान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Rava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Kirit Bharadhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Kirit Bharadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're going to try to speak from Srimad Brihad Bhagavatamritha. Brihad Bhagavatamritha, which is the book written by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami, of course, was direct disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sanatana Goswami, along with Rupa Goswami, they were originally, or in anyway, up until the time of their joining Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were based in a place called Ramakeli. Ramakeli, which is near to Malda, present-day Malda in West Bengal. So Ramakeli is a very beautiful village with a lot of cows, many lakes and trees, very rural area. And the Nawab Hussain Shah was based there. It was the headquarters of the Nawab Hussain Shah. And it's a popular place for historians to come. People who are researching the history, like 500 years ago, they come there to see the ruins of the Nawab Hussain Shah. Because the Nawab Hussain Shah had his palace and different things there. And so Sanatan and Rupa Goswami, they were living there in Ramakeli, and they were very highly placed in the service of the Nawab Hussain Shah. And the Nawab had given them names to honor them. Rupa Goswami was called by the name Dabir Kas, and Sanatan was Shakara Malik. So one was the secretary of the Nawab Hussain Shah, and one was like the Minister of Finance, Chancellor of the Exchequer or something. And so they had very high places in the government of the Nawab Hussain Shah. Although they were actually Brahmanas by caste, but the Nawab had used them to help him to govern his kingdom, because they were very well educated and they were very much expert in many languages. Sanatana Goswami knew many languages like Persian and Arabic and Urdu, as well as, of course, Sanskrit and Bengali and these things. So he was really a very expert man, very learned man. So they were not so young. They must have been in middle age or even elder than that when they met, when they heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they wrote to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know, they'd been hearing about the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he done things like he defeated Keshava Kashmiri, and then he led the civil disobedience protest against the Chand Kazi, and then he'd taken sannyas and gone off to Jagannath Puri, where he'd liberated Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So hearing all of these things had greatly inspired Rupa and Sanatan, and they wrote to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at one point came there to Ramakeli. He came back from Jagannath Puri as a sannyasi. He came there to Ramakeli, and he met with Rupa and Sanatan. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time, he was going to go to Vrindavan. But Rupa and Sanatan told him, well, of course, the names were Dabir Kas and Sakara Malik at that time. But they told to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that there's so many people following you that if you go to Vrindavan like this, it will not be very good. That it's proper to go to Vrindavan. You should not make so much of a disturbance. It should be very peaceful. But you have so many people following you, it will create an upheaval. It will be a big disturbance there. So they suggested to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to go at that time because there were so many people following him. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya met with Rupa and Sanatan, and he told them, you know, that you want to get out of this place because you're having to serve these people, and it's not very pleasant for you. It's not a very good situation for you as devotees to be in this association with people who are killing cows. So you should leave this. So that was they had to renounce their official standing there, give up their positions in the government. And it's described how Rupa Goswami was very wealthy. He had so much wealth, but he divided it in a very exemplary manner. 50% he gave to the service of the Vaishnavas and the Brahmins, and 25% he gave to his family members, and he kept 25% for his own emergency needs. And then, so Rupa Goswami, he went away, left home, and he went off and he met Lord Chaitanya at Prayag. And Lord Chaitanya instructed him for 10 days and then sent Rupa to Vrindavan. But somehow Sanatan was not able to leave immediately, and he got, you know, maybe he was more entangled there in his duties. So he was still in Ramakeli, but he was not going to office. And then now Nawab wondered, what's wrong? Why is he not coming to the office? What's wrong? And they said, no, he's not well. So the Nawab personally went to his home. And when he went to the home, he saw that there were Brahmanas there doing yagya, and there were other Brahmanas there reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was doing all of these different things. He was actually preparing himself for leaving home. So when the Nawab saw that he was doing all of these things, the Nawab was not pleased with him, and he put him in jail. And the place where he was imprisoned, we go there when we go to Ramakeli. You can go there, you can see the place. It said this was the prison where Sanatana was imprisoned. Anyway, Sanatan managed to escape from there. He was a very intelligent person, and he spoke to the jailer very nicely, and he told the jailer that I want to go to Mecca. I want to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca. And you should let me go and it will be good for you. You'll get the benefit. If I go to Mecca, you'll be benefited. And the jailer was naturally reluctant because he thought, I'll get in trouble. But then Sanatan told him, he said, also there is this amount of money because Rupa Goswami had deposited 25% of his wealth with a local merchant there. So Sanatan told the jailer, you can get that money for yourself. And so then the jailer said, well, what will I tell the Nawab? What happened to you? And he said, you just tell him that you took me to the bank of the Ganga, that I was going to evacuate, and I fell in the Ganga and drowned. And so the jailer thought, okay, so that's what happened. And Sanatan made his escape and he got out of the jail and he went off to find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He'd received news that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan. And so Sanatan went off there and he ended up meeting Lord Chaitanya in Benares. It was actually in Benares when they met. And Lord Chaitanya, actually Sanatan had heard somehow that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there and he was in the home of Tapana Mishra. Lord Chaitanya had met Tapana Mishra initially in what is now Bangladesh. And he told him that you go to Benares and later I will meet you there. So the Acharyas comment that this is an indication that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that in the future he was going to take sannyas and renounce. Because he told Tapana Mishra, you go to Benares and I will meet you there. And it happened that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. He came there to Benares and he stayed at the home of Tapana Mishra. And Chandrasekhar Acharya, he was also there at the time. So they were there with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them that I think there's a great devotee outside the door. Go and bring him in. And they went outside and they came back and told Lord Chaitanya, there's no devotee there. There's only a Muslim mendicant. He was like a Muslim mendicant, the beard, and then the cloth also, it was more like, like a Muslim would wear. So they thought he was a Muslim mendicant. But Lord Chaitanya came out and Lord Chaitanya embraced him. And they were shocked. They thought, who is this? They didn't know. Of course, Lord Chaitanya, he had met Sanatan earlier, so he could recognize him. And so Sanatan had come to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the devotee, immediately take him and make him clean. In other words, shave his face and shave his head. Lord Chaitanya said, go and make him clean. And so sometimes some people claim that they're followers of Sanatana Goswami and they grow the beard, but actually the followers, if they were actually following Sanatana Goswami, then they should be clean shaven because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Sanatana Goswami to make himself clean. So Sanatana Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then there was the blanket. He'd been given a blanket, which was quite an expensive, costly blanket. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at him because he thought this man's supposed to be renouncing, but he was still wearing this expensive blanket. So Sanatan understood that. And so when he went to bathe, then he exchanged his blanket with a torn quilt with some beggar who was also bathing in the lake there. And in this way, Sanatan came back and he spent 2 months with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Benares. For 2 months, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing and explaining Krishna consciousness. Of course, we know in the beginning, Sanatan began by questioning Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Ke ami? Who am I? Why am I suffering?" And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began in this way his teachings to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began his teaching to Sanatana Goswami by responding to this question from Sanatana Goswami. So this is the Sanatan Shiksha is quite several chapters there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Madhya Lila. Rupa Goswami, Rupa Shiksha, it's not so much, but Sanatan Shiksha is like 3 or 4 chapters are there at the end of the Madhya Lila. So after being taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Sanatan was also sent to Vrindavan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them that this is your Prabhudatta Desh. You and your brother, this is your Prabhudatta Desh. I have given you this place. You go to Vrindavan. Actually, when Sanatan was in Ramakeli, he was making a Vrindavan for himself there in Ramakeli. And he had lakes there. One lake was Radha Kund, and then Lalita Kund, and Vishaka Kund. And like this, he was envisioning how he would make Ramakeli into Vrindavan. But then he left Vrindavan. Now he's going to actually go to Mathura to be in the real Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya wants him to go there. And among the duties which he has is to discover the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes and show how to worship the deities, and also write books on Krishna consciousness. So one of the books which Srila Sanatana Goswami wrote was this Brihad Bhagavatamritha. And it's a book, Srila Jai Jagannath Mahadev Subhadra Ki Jai. This book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, has been translated by Gopi Paranadana Prabhu, who was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada and who was a Sanskrit scholar. Gopi Paranadana Prabhu is departed from the world now. He departed from the world in Govardhan, but he ran a Sanskrit college for several years, and he trained a number of devotees in Sanskrit and to translate the books. So he himself translated this Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It's a very wonderful book, and Prabhupada also glorifies it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I said everyone should read it. So I thought I'd just give you some of the main points. We'll go through. Actually, Brihad Bhagavatamrita is in 2 parts. So the first part concerns Narada Muni and his search for the person who's received the greatest mercy from the Lord. And we'll hear how he approaches different people. And he's thinking they have received the greatest mercy from the Lord. And this way he goes on, meets many different devotees, one after another. That's the first part. The second part of the book is about a cowherd boy from Govardhan who receives a mantra from his guru, and by the power of this mantra, he's able to go and visit different places. He goes first of all to the heavenly planets, and then he goes to the higher planets in the universe like Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. Then he goes through the universe into the spiritual sky, and then you hear how he enters into Vaikuntha, and he goes to Mathura and Dwarka, and then he goes on to Goloka. So that's the second part of the book. We will try to focus on the first part of the book. But this book is published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust in 3 volumes. So if you get an interest, if you like to read books, it's very well worth reading. It's very, very nice to hear. Srila Prabhupada said, in our older age, we should read the books of the Goswamis. After you've read all of Prabhupada's books, first you read all of Prabhupada's books, right? You read the Bhagavatam, read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, and be familiar with all of these books. And then you can go on and read the books of the Goswamis. So we're fortunate that some of Prabhupada's disciples have taken on this work of translating. His Holiness Bhanu Swami, for example, has translated Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas. That's also very nice to read. And then here we have this Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamritha. So after his invocation, he begins the invocation by offering his respects to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Naturally, Sanatana Goswami is a direct disciple of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he also, Sanatana Goswami is an eternal associate of the pleasure potency of the Lord. And he is aware of everything, past, present, and future, and he knows all the scriptures, even the scriptures which we don't know where they are, he knows. And he can quote many wonderful things and tell us things which we have never heard before and we will never hear anywhere else. So very special. So Sanatana Goswami begins by telling us how this book, Brihad Bhagavatamritha, is actually is spoken by Jaimini to Janmanjaya. Janmanjaya means the son of Maharaj Parikshit. Right? So Janmanjaya, he heard this book from Jaimini. And it's described that Janmanjaya had originally heard the Mahabharata from Jaimini. And we're told there are actually more than one Mahabharata. There are different versions of the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata, which we know, we see that Lord Krishna is not very prominent there in the Mahabharata. And in that Mahabharata, which is Dvaipayana Vyasa's Mahabharata, Lord Krishna is like subservient to the Pandavas. You know, he's caring about them and looking after them and so on. But we don't really get a real glimpse of the glory of Lord Krishna in the Mahabharata. And Jiva Goswami even said no one ever developed love of God from the Mahabharata. But here in this Brihad Bhagavatamrita, we're told there's another Mahabharata which was spoken by Jaimini. And in that Mahabharata, there was much more dealings of rasa and loving exchange between Lord Krishna and his devotees. So Janmanjaya had heard this Mahabharata and he felt very inspired to hear more. And after hearing that Mahabharata, he requested Jaimini, can you please speak some more of this nectarian glories of the Lord? This is the Bhagavatamritha, the nectar of the Bhagavat, the nectar of the loving dealings between the Lord and his devotees. So Jaimini been requested in this way to speak more, and he's going to tell us about a narration which took place between Uttara and Maharaj Parikshit. Uttara means the mother of Maharaj Parikshit. She was the wife of Abhimanyu. So we're told that Maharaj Parikshit had heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami. And after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit had no fear. He was completely fixed on the transcendental platform. He was completely absorbed in thought of Lord Krishna, and he was completely devoid of all fear. He wasn't worried about that curse, that Tarksha, the snake bird, is going to come and bite him and kill him. You know, if we had that kind of curse, you know, you would feel, oh, you know. But Maharaj Parikshit, because he'd heard the Srimad Bhagavatam, he had no fear at all. And he was completely fixed in trance. But then his mother, Uttara, came. Now, Uttara, she was also a great devotee. We know from the Srimad Bhagavatam how when Ashwatthama threw his Brahmastra weapon at the child in her womb, she came running to Lord Krishna. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate. She is calling out to Lord Krishna that I don't worry about myself, but please protect this child in my womb, because the Brahmastra weapon was coming towards her. And she wanted, as a mother, she naturally wanted to save her child. So she requested Lord Krishna to protect her. And Lord Krishna expanded himself in her womb and protected the child, saved the child from the heat of the Brahmastra. So Uttara has come to her son, Maharaj Parikshit. And what does she want to hear? She's asking her son that you have heard the Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days. Can you please tell me the essence of what you've heard? Because Uttara was not able to be there at the time of the speaking of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But she knows that Maharaj Parikshit had been there. He'd heard everything for 7 days. And she's come to ask him, please, could you just tell me what was the essence of what you heard from Shukadeva Goswami? So Maharaj Parikshit is a bit surprised. He said to his mother, he said, actually, this is the time to be silent, because he's preparing for his death, and he wants to really focus his mind and thought of the Lord and just sit and contemplate the Lord, because he'd heard so much from Sukadeva Goswami. He just thought, I will just sit silently now and wait for my death to come, because it's very imminent. He's going to die. The curse is going to take place. So Maharaj Parikshit was thinking just to be silent. But then Uttara has come and she's made this request. Please, could you just tell me what you've heard, the essence of it? And naturally, Parikshit feels some thought for his mother. The mother has come, so he has to think, I have to do something to satisfy my mother. And her request is also not something he wants to avoid. He thinks it's a very nice request, actually. The question of his mother to hear the glories of the Lord is very nice. So Maharaj Parikshit, hearing this request from Uttara, he begins to speak to her and tell her this Brihad Bhagavatamritha. So he begins by talking about the sages, a number of sages who are there at Prayag. And they're sitting at the Das Ashwamedha Ghat. And each of the sages is glorifying the other sage. They say, you are the real recipient of the mercy of the Lord. And the devotee goes, oh, no, no. It must be him. He is the real recipient of the mercy of the Lord. But then he's, no, no, it's him. He's got the greatest. In this way, they were talking amongst themselves. Who has received the greatest mercy of the Lord? So at that time, it happened that a Brahmana came there along with his family members and his servants. And this Brahmana was actually the guru of this area. And he was well loved and respected. He was a very noble Brahmana. And he came there to Prayag in order to do some yajna. And he brought many things with him. He brought all kinds of cloth, and he brought different paraphernalia for the worship of the Lord. And he brought a lot of provisions because he wants to distribute food also. So he's prepared to do a very great yajna, you see. And he builds, first of all, he erects for himself an altar. And he put a canopy on it. And he brought with him his Shaligram Shila. Are any of you worshipping Shaligram Shila? On the altar we have Shaligram. Who does the puja? Yeah. So Shaligram, Brahmanas, they worship the Shaligram. You don't need all the deities if you have Shaligram. You can just worship the Shaligram. They just introduced the worship of Shaligram there in Calcutta temple, actually. They just began it. Okay, so this Brahmana makes a nice altar, beautiful altar, puts his Shaligram, Shila. He has a beautiful asana for the Shaligram and puts his Shaligram on the asana, and he puts a canopy over the Shaligram. And then he prepares himself to do the sacrifice. They prepare foodstuffs, and they cook very nice foodstuffs, and they distribute to everyone. They don't just feed only the sannyasis, they feed the grihastas, they feed the brahmacharis, and then he fed even the people of lower caste, even the people who we would consider untouchables, the chandalas, the yavanas, the lepers, even the dogs. No living entity went without food. Even the birds were given food, and the insects also. Everyone was fed. And then the Brahmana had brought clothing also, and he was distributing clothing to the different people there. Everyone was provided for. In this way, the Brahmana was desiring to satisfy everyone. He had this mood. He wanted to please. He and his own family and his servants, none of them took any food. They first of all fed everyone. And after they'd fed everyone and satisfied everyone, then only did they take some remnants of the food, whatever was left. They considered that to be the real prasad. Just like Ranti Dev, right? Those of you who have read Srimad Bhagavatam, you know about Ranti Dev and how he was so charitable. People would come to him, he would give everything. Even the last glass of water, he would give in charity, he would give to someone. And that was his That was the greatest pleasure for him, to be able to give to others, to provide for others. So similarly, this Brahmana, who is actually, we said, the guru of that area, he's coming and he's doing this wonderful yajna. He's showing how to worship the Lord. He worshipped the shalagram perfectly with all kinds of mantras and made all offerings to the shalagram, and then gave charity to all the people, and then all the animals and all the insects, everyone. So at that time, Narada Muni was there and he was watching. And he came forward and he said to this Brahmana, "You have received the greatest mercy of the Lord. You are the most fortunate person because you have received the greatest mercy from the Lord." But the Brahmana is not very eager to hear this because he's a devotee. Devotees never like to hear glories, to hear their own glories. And we will see this as we go through the different travels of Narada Muni. As he approaches different people, he's saying, "You have received the greatest." And they will all say, "Oh, no, please, not me." They will all say, they will all deny. They will say, "No, no, no, no." And they will send Narada Muni to some other place. They'll send him to see some other person. Go and see this. He is he has really got the mercy of Krishna. So in this way, anyway, Narada Muni, he's beginning his journey here at Prayag. And he's thinking this Brahmana, he's actually received the greatest mercy from the Lord. Because he's seeing, he's doing so much. He's giving so much charity. He's worshiping the Lord so nicely. He's taking so much care to worship everything so nicely. And he's so respectful to give food, to give the offerings, to give the clothing and everything. It is, sometimes people give charity grudgingly. But Narada could see this Brahmana was giving with a very genuine heart, with genuine humility. He wanted to beg the people, "Please kindly accept my humble offering." So giving charity that has to be done. That we can give charity in the mode of ignorance, you can give in the mode of passion, and you can give in the mode of goodness. Prabhupada explains the highest charity is to give in Krishna consciousness. So this Brahmana, certainly, he's a pure-hearted soul. He's worshipping shalagram, and then he's distributing. And only after he distributes everything, then he feeds the family members, and then they take whatever is left. And if there's nothing left, they're happy. They don't complain. Right? So this is the Vedic culture, actually. When the guests come, the host should feed the guests. And then when the guests are satisfied, then it's a great blessing for the host. So similarly, this Brahmana, he wants to satisfy everyone. And when he sees everyone is satisfied, then he feels satisfied. He's done his duty as a Brahmana. But Narada Muni is coming forward to declare, "You have received the greatest mercy from the Lord." So I have to read a little bit here just to tell you how the Brahmana responds to this. After he had completed everything, then we're told how he put his shalagram deity into a box, and he gets ready to return home. And at that time, Narada Muni comes forward to him, because Narada Muni was there with the sages, and they'd been talking about who has received the greatest mercy of the Lord, who is the best devotee. So Narada Muni comes forward. He says, "This is the Supreme Lord Vishnu's most dear devotee." And Narada Muni runs up to the Brahmana and declares it to him. And Narada Muni says to everyone that just see how much eagerness this Brahmana has for the service of the Lord. And the proof that you've received the mercy of the Lord is that you have all kinds of wealth, you have all property, and you're generous, all opulence. This is a proof of the Lord's mercy on you, that he has given you all kinds of opulence, that you could perform all this charity. And at the same time, you're not attached to it. You're willing to give charity. So that is a sign that the Lord has been very merciful to you. And you've come to this holy place also. To come to the holy place to give, like charity, it should be performed at the proper place, right? In the proper time. So this was the month of Magh, which is very special time. The month of Magh means January, February, beginning of the year, the coldest time of the year. And you get special merit when you go there in the month of Magh and take a bath there at the Prayag during the month of Magh. Right? You get a lot of pious merits there. So this Brahmana had come there in the month of Magh to Prayag, and he's doing all of this. So it's not an ordinary thing to be able to go there to such a holy place and to do so much charity, and to be able to do so much charity, to have that opulence. It's a sign of the Lord's mercy on that Brahmana. So Narada Muni, he's declaring like this to the Brahmana. He said, and Narada Muni said, "We have seen for ourselves, you are using all these assets just to establish what is actually religion, pure religion." So Narada Muni, he's watched the Brahmana, he saw what he was doing, he's convinced, oh, he's really a great devotee, definitely. But the Brahmana, he's not going to accept that. We'll hear what the Brahmana has to say now. It says, the Brahmana says to Narada Muni, he said, "Oh Master, what sign of Krishna's mercy have you seen in me? Who am I? A most wretched person. How much charity am I able to give? What opulence do I have? And how have I ever reciprocated with the Lord in devotional service?" So you can see the mood of the Brahmana. that although Narada Muni thinks he's a great devotee, the Brahmana, he himself, he doesn't think he's a devotee at all. So a devotee of Krishna should always think, we should always think of ourselves as insignificant. And whatever opulence we may have, certainly it's a gift of God. A devotee should be sorry for having rebelled against the Creator. A devotee always thinks that the real influence is that we have fallen from the material world. The fact that we are in this material world indicates that we are fallen souls. The Brahmana may be influential, like he's the leader of the community, but the Brahmana thinks we're all fallen souls. We're not important people. We're just, fallen souls. We're here in this material world. So the Brahmana, he doesn't want any of the glory which Narada Muni wants to give him. And the Brahmana is going to send him another place. And the Brahmana is going to tell him, he said, if you go to the south, in the southern region, there's a great ruler who lives there. He has a kingdom with many temples of the Supreme Lord and of the Devas. He is the real recipient of Krishna's mercy. You should go and see him. Even great sadhus, they go to his kingdom. They come from all directions and they go there, and the pilgrims come there, and they go there, and they're all so happy to be there. And the king provides food for all of them. He arranges for all of their accommodation and their food, their lodgings. Everything is provided by the king. For everyone who comes there, all the pilgrims who come there, the king takes it on himself to be responsible for these things. Just like when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living in Jagannath Puri, Maharaj Prataparudra was the king at that time, and all the devotees came from Mayapur. Well, not only Mayapur, they came from many different places, all the different villages. Shantipur, and then Sri Racha, and then Kulinagram, so many different villages. They would all come and they would all go to Jagannath Puri for Rath Yatra. So when they all arrived, the king arranged for all their accommodation. Make sure they all get Lord Jagannath's prasadam. So that's the duty of the king. Not easy to be a king sometimes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had some quarrel with the king of Puri at one point. It's mentioned one pastime that somehow the king had no finances and he was taking the money from the temple for his own expenses. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in charge of the temple, and when he saw that the king had taken money from the temple, he ordered the king that you have to provide for all the offerings for Lord Jagannath. He told the king, now you have to pay for all the offerings for Lord Jagannath. And the king was so angry at Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he hired brahmanas to do yagyas to kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he had many brahmanas all doing yagyas, all chanting mantras to kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And at the end of the yagya, the king's only son died. So, he wanted to kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he got the opposite result. His own son died. So these kind of things go on sometimes. That was in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. Anyway, time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Maharaj Prataparudra was not like that. He was very charitable, and he took care of all the devotees, gave them all prasadam, everything. So here this Brahmana is telling Narada Muni, you go to the south, there's a kingdom there, and there are many temples, and there are many pilgrims coming there, many saints coming there, and they're all being taken care of by the king. That king is such a great devotee. He maintains the temples and he looks after all the pilgrims. You should go there and see him. He is the recipient of the real mercy of the Lord. You have to go there and see him. It says, the Brahmana continues, he said, in that kingdom, a joyous, ever fresh festival is always being celebrated. At each moment, there are new offerings and performances of worship. Every day is a festival. Could you imagine? Prabhupada told us, he said, every day you can have a festival. He said, can you afford it? It costs, put on festivals. It's a lot of work, a lot of preparation. But this kingdom where this king is, very wonderful. Every day is a joyous festival. And every day new and new offerings and presentations for the deities. This is the real mercy of the Lord. And the king is respectfully, he feeds all the residents of the country and the many foreign visitors, and they all get Vishnu Prasad. Everyone is given the mercy of the Lord. Saintly devotees of Vishnu come from various countries to reside permanently in the kingdom. They come out of eagerness to see the lotus-eyed deity of the Lord, to relish the food and other special remnants from the Lord, and to attain the association of spiritually advanced persons. So these are the good reasons, just like why do people come to visit holy places? Then we expect these kind of things. We go to the holy places, we will see the beautiful deities, we will be able to relish the prasad of the Lord. We will also have the association with spiritually advanced devotees. Now, this is the idea, this should be the thinking. We go to the holy place with these things in mind. And the king has given his kingdom away to the demigods and brahmanas, dividing it amongst them. His kingdom is completely free from sorrow, social disruption, and fear. The king has given away the kingdom to the Brahman. Just like in Jaipur, they brought the deity of Govindaji from Vrindavan to Jaipur to protect him from people like Aurangzeb. When they were breaking the temples, they were worried to protect the deity. They brought Govindaji to Jaipur. After the threat was over, they wanted to bring Govindaji back to Vrindavan. But the king said, no. He said, I cannot. He said, Govindaji has come here. I cannot tell him to go. So the king then made Govindaji the king. And he made himself the servant of Govinda. So very nice. That is. And so here also it's described in Brihad Bhagavatamritha, this king in the southern region, he gave away his kingdom to the demigods and to all the brahmanas. He wants nothing for himself. He wants to give everything to others. And there's no sorrow. There's no fear. Everyone is fed in the whole country. Everyone is provided for. This is the Ishyavasya society. You see? People properly taken care of. no anxiety. In his kingdom, the earth yields crops without being tilled. Wow. Rain falls just enough for people's comfort, and whatever fruits, vegetables, and clothing one desires are easily obtained. You see, when the kingdom is God conscious, when people are God conscious, then nature naturally facilitates and everything is provided without extra endeavor. Just like it's mentioned here, the crops grow without you having to plow the field. They just grow on their own. And the cows, they're so happy and they're so well cared for, they're giving so much milk that their milk is flooding the fields. So you can see how everything is opposite to this. We are trying to take everything from the earth. And so everything is, the milk, to get the milk from the cow, they use machines, very barbaric and brutal treatment of the cow to drain every last drop of milk from her bag. And to get the crops, we put so many chemicals and fertilizers and pesticides and insecticides just to grow some grains. But when the king is God conscious, when everything is God conscious and the people follow the laws of God, then everything is nicely provided for us without even extra endeavor. The oceans are full of pearls. The hills are full of gold and silver. It's all there by the grace of God. Why is it not there? Because we're not working in harmony with the laws of God. But when we follow the plan of God, when we live in the Ishavasha spirit, then everything is there. Everything is provided. The citizens all happily follow the king as if they were his children. They perform their own social duties and are devoted to Lord Krishna. So the king is like the father. He's the caretaker of everyone. So he's like the father of everyone. So that all the citizens are like his children. He's concerned for their welfare. Just like in the times of Lord Rama, if there was anybody could come anytime to see Lord Rama. If there was any problem, Lord Rama was always available there. And people could, but nobody came. Everyone was so happy. And so we talk about Ram Raja. So this is a similar situation which is being described here in the Brihad Bhagavatamritha. Everyone is happy, everyone is provided, and everyone is a devotee. The king is always without pride, worshipping the Supreme Lord with service. He performs his service to the Lord and he pleases all the people. So he is very dear to the Lord. So it's kind of like Maharaj Ambarish then. Here, Maharaj Ambarish, of course, he was a king and he was also worshipping the Lord. And so here also the king is worshipping the Lord. And because he's worshipping the Lord, and the people are seeing the example and they love the king. They love they're seeing that they have a good king, that people feel happy. Just like when Maharaj Ambarish was the king, then the people loved him more than they loved Durvasa. Durvasa was thinking, why they give so much respect for this king? Because he was so devoted. Durvasa wasn't devotee. So because he was a devotee, that's why all the people loved the king. And they were happy with the king. And the Lord is also happy when the king is a ruler, when the king is a devotee. And Lord Krishna personally, he wanted to establish the Pandavas on the throne. He didn't want Duryodhana to be on the... Duryodhana and his brothers were good rulers, but they were not devotees. The Lord wanted to establish devotees on the throne, that they should rule. So the citizens are always happy, and the king always tries to satisfy the Lord. He himself does Sankirtan before the deity, chanting the Lord's name. He dances, sings songs, plays instruments, and all of his sons, his wives, his grandsons, the priests, the ministers, they also take part. So you're going to be involved in the government of this king. Qualification is you have to be a devotee. Prabhupada wanted to institute this kind of program. You know, there was one man, he had a factory. So Prabhupada said, we should make it a Krishna conscious factory. He said, we should have kirtan there every day. All the workers should come and they should do kirtan every morning. And before they go home in the evening, they can also do kirtan. But every day you give them prasadam and let them hear a little Bhagavad Gita, but there should be kirtan. And in that way, the people will work happily together. There'll be no threat of strikes. There'll be no intrigues or problems. All the problems will be taken care of by Krishna consciousness. If there's a Krishna conscious atmosphere, then everything will go well. So you can see here in the kingdom, everybody's chanting, everybody's doing Sankirtan. Big government officials, they kind of say, oh, I'm too busy, I have to run the country. No, most important thing, Sankirtan. So these good qualities arise from his devotion for Krishna. How many of them can I count? I can't even describe all his good qualities. He's such a great king. So when Narada hears all of this, then Narada immediately wants to go there. I have to go there and see this for myself. So that's the next section. We will hear Narada Muni is going to go to that kingdom and he's going to see for himself what's going on there. So we'll hear about that in the next class. Are there any questions or comments? It's also mentioned that this Jaimini, that he's a great devotee of Lord Jagannath, and he also describes the glories of Lord Jagannath. He's known for describing not only this Mahabharata and this Brihad Bhagavatamritha, but he also likes to speak the glories of Lord Jagannath. Okay, any question? Do you all want to go to that kingdom? You want to go there to the south and be in that kingdom? Enjoy nice prasadam, Sankirtan festivals every day? Sounds very appealing, right? Very attractive. We want to go there and appreciate this life, the kingdom. Certainly, just like people come to Mayapur and Vrindavan, you could understand when there's God consciousness, so many people come from all over the world. Pilgrims come. Yeah, any question? Okay, then we will stop here. Okay, Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Today evening class will be in R.R. Nagar, at the place of Prasadeshwar Krishna Prabhu's place, Gaurnitai complex. So devotees who are free can join there. And tomorrow morning again the same Brihad Bhagavatam will continue tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and like that. So let us express our gratitude to Maharaj by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare. Thank you. Prasadam is being served outside. Hare Krishna.